In this video, I want to share with you a picture of who you will become when you're doing your mind shift, as you change or upgrade what you choose to believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. Hi, my name's Robin, and welcome back to part 2 in this 3-part series. In the first part of the last video, we talked about mindset, or I introduced the idea of the head, heart, and hand model. And when we're talking about changing a mindset, it's usually because you want to do something different or learn a skill to do something different, or you want to experience something different in your life, right? But to be able to experience that difference is going to require that you become someone different, someone new. And that's going to feel different, and it's going to have an emotional or an energy in motion. Something new about that. To experience that is going to require that you do, so that's the heart work. To experience that's going to require that you do the head work. And that's where we talked about mindset and identity and self-talk, and talking about who you choose to tell yourself you are. See, based on your mindset, or where your thinkings are set in point that make up the tent poles of the space that you call home, your mental home, your emotional home, and what you choose to believe are the guy ropes that keep that structure in place. And unless you can soften those beliefs or change, unhook those old thinkings and feelings, because those thoughts are loaded with emotion, and the more emotion they're loaded with, the deeper those pegs are in, the more that old conditioning stays intact, right? The old conditioning of your culture, of your way of life, of what you chose to believe or what was told about you, and how you made up that identity. But as we're shifting, as we're learning to change our mind set points and our emotional set points, and intentionally tell a new story, to create a new identity, as you let go of beliefs and reorganize and recoordinate things in your mind. As you start to do that, you'll start to be able to experience something different, right? And as you experience something different, because you have new thinkings, a new way of looking at life, not only a new set of beliefs and a different mindset, we're teaching you how to change your wiring. We're going to teach you how to change your natural thinking strategy and thinking styles. And if you were listening in the last video, you remember that for the better part of my life, my own thinking was getting in my own way. My neurology, see, I'm wired. You and I have a brain created in a certain way, and we have these neural pathways that shape thinking strategies or thinking styles. And when I had allowed the conditioning to tell myself that, hey, listen, I'm broken, then it didn't matter what environment I stepped into, I arrived with broken thinking. Or I measured what was going on through broken lenses, broken eyes. So I was unable to see anything except brokenness or low values, low self-esteem. And I got in my own way, right? Because that was the space that I was living from. That was my emotional home. That was my mental home, my set points. And as I've let go of those thoughts and feelings that I allowed to become beliefs, and I've started to change and reshape my identity, the story that I tell it myself about who I am, I'm able to experience different energy in motion in my physical body, in my earth suit, which influences the way that I think, which influences how I make meaning or make sense of what I'm experiencing in the world around me. And as we go into this next step, this video is about the heart body. So not just the head work, now we're going to do the heart work. We're going to talk about what hard work needs to take place so that you can do what needs to get done in the hand space. The heart work is the emotion, is the energy in motion. And when you get this right, it's going to start with a visceral, a tangible feeling, a different feeling in your earth suit, in your body. It really does. When I walk into an environment that used to be something that would just instantly trigger an anxiety or a feeling of, I don't belong here, right? Or I'd meet up with someone, I see a familiar face, perhaps from my school days, perhaps from my old community, the neighborhood I grew up in. Not so long ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right through to my younger years, if I saw that face, if I met that person, it's like I'm instantaneously transported to a place where I experienced that same anxiety I experienced when I was a child, right? Or perhaps it's a place, there's a a sound or a scent, a smell. And as you experience that trigger, you're instantaneously transported. And in your physical body, you experience something, and that emotion confuses you, right? And you forget who you are in this moment, and you're transported back to that other moment, an old version of you, an old identity. And then it's really difficult not to live out in this moment, thinkings and feelings and doings, take actions in this moment without them being driven by the energy the emotion of that past, that old moment. And we get in our own way. But that's going to start changing. You're going to start to recognize in real time these differences, this difference, the distinction between what you're experiencing in your earth suit right now from the old thoughts, those memories from yesteryear. And as you become aware of those differences, be able to make decisions, real-time decisions on which one you're going to choose to use as a reference to tell yourself your story about yourself. And are you going to delete your identity that you've been working on, or are you going to reinforce this new identity that we're working on, that we're shaping? And are you going to hold on to old mindsets, old set points of thinking loaded with emotion, or are you going to have the freedom and the power to be able to choose and select new set points in your thinking and your emotional body and your physical body? And as you do this, right, it's going to feel like a new version of you. I'm feeling that I have a sense of I don't know what the opposite of hopeless and helpless. It's like I'm empowered. I mean, I'm like nothing can physically change. Same environment, same working place, same laptop, same camera, same clients. So nothing in this real world, this real like 2D, two-dimensional world can change. And yet instantaneously it can feel like everything has changed, that everything is in change and emotion, because energy in motion, the emotion of that moment starts to feel different because I have new lenses and I'm starting to live this moment from a different perspective. It's like I've got new options, right? That old belief that didn't serve me, that kept me trapped in my contracted in my small way, in that place of powerlessness, in that place of inferiority, in that place of anxiety. Those beliefs are being reorganized and recategorized and coordinated into something that makes more sense for me now, and I'm able to, with more options, make better choices, or choices that serve me better. And I'm able to select ideas to elevate with emotion. And you'll learn how we do this, how we create intentionally beliefs that are robust and helpful and resourceful to the person that I'm becoming. And as I hold on to those beliefs and celebrate what they do, and I experience the energy and motion of that belief, I start to have from deep down inside, I start to experience an energy, a power that I didn't have before, to be able to stick with what I'm busy with. Or when I get knocked out of my routine, or out of something happens externally, right? So something in the world around me, like you've watched the last video, perhaps it's the electricity again, perhaps it's a power outage, or a structured electrical failure. We call them load shedding. Perhaps like this last week, it's been no water a day or two, and then I've had technology issues, technical issues, software crashes, miscommunications. It's been a colorful week. Yet more and more often, I'm able to stay with what's happening in the present and not get taken out by the energy and the motion of that present moment, and get pulled back into a flashback into a past time. But to be able to stay present and choose my thinking, choose what I believe, create an emotion that serves me, to go into state, because we live from state, and it's from state that we get our power to take action. So I'm able to take resourceful actions, or actions that serve me, more frequently and more often. And when I don't, when I'm human, because I'm human, right? I'll tell you now, when I don't, I'm able to flick back out of, or pull myself out of that unresourceful. I catch that, I'm back here again. Whoa, stop. That's who I used to be. That's not who I want to be. And I'm able to make that step change quicker and more elegantly and more effortlessly and with flow as I put these things to practice. So that's what might happen for you. That's what I trust will happen for you on your journey as you start to take this mind shift, as you start to learn these ways, these processes, these 8 pillars in the sequence. Just a couple of things that you get to do as you start to recreate what you're going to choose to believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. And what's possible is absolutely amazing. I get so excited when I think about this and when I share about this and when I engage or coach or train, and possibly because I remember what I felt was not possible for me. So if this is the first time we're meeting, hey, my name is Robin Pullen. I'm a speaker, coach, trainer, author, a bunch of stuff. I've done some things. I've trained more than 108,000 people across the world, from around the world and across the continent in my time. Many thousands have been in one-on-one, in coaching or consulting, and then in groups of training. And I had a training company with just under 40 people for a couple of years where we got to work with thousands of people from many cultures, in different levels of leadership and a number of disciplines. And why I tell you that is because, so I've learned a lot. I've got some really cool experience, and I've developed some decent expertise. And I'm so loving the science that I've been learning, right, in the last few years in neuroscience and neurosemantics, building on my positive psychology and my organizational behavior management skills, and expanding what I learned as a trainer, as a teacher in adventure-related experiential learning in my days at college and university, and all the thousands of hours I've done as a team build instructor, facilitator, doing high ropes course and outdoors adventure stuff, as well as classroom-based or adult learning-based, facilitation of events and culture change and organizational behavior campaigns for multinational companies as well as individual companies, SMMEs. And throughout, so all along that and behind all of that, I'm just a guy. I'm just a man trying to make sense of his own experience. And I didn't always make sense. All the sense that I made wasn't resourceful. Not only am I just a guy, I'm also a dad. And I have 4 kids. And along this journey, I've also been trying to make sense of what does this mean for me as man and as parent, as a guy and as a dad. And I didn't get it right, man. I'll be honest. The last couple of months and years have been phenomenal. I am so grateful for what I've learned, and I'm so grateful for what it's doing in my own life. And it's a privilege. It's like a sacred privilege to be able to share these ideas and to see what's happening for other people's lives. But more so because I can see the difference in my own life. There was a day when I got hijacked by my own emotion. Before I learned about the amygdala and the 3-second hijack and being able to interrupt this instinctive reaction when my lizard brain takes over. A lot of what I wrote about in the book get activated. How do you shift from an instinctive reaction to an intentional response? I didn't have that ability, not through my school career, not through my young adult career, not through university, and not as when I started out as a trainer, consultant, or a facilitator, or even when I started my own practice. I made a lot of mistakes because I was caught in my own thinking. Man, I'm a professional personalizer. I'm a recovering personalizer, and I'm a recovering. I do. So we get these. We have these thinking strategies, these thinking styles because of our neurology. Because of the way my brain is wired, my physical body and my brain is made up. The thinking pathways in my brain fire in particular parts, and not only do I have these natural neurological pathways, I've been conditioned by the environment I was in. And I can tell you another time about my story as a kid. I mean, yeah, I have 3 happy moments of my entire school career right into university. It was not an exciting time. I had really, for me, many, many years of micro-traumatic experiences growing up as a child, and that conditioning and my family and my neighborhood and all the stuff that I chose to take on and I chose to allow to say something about me and who I am and what that made me as a person. And that the state, the emotional, the energy in motion that created emotion, the state that I lived in for so long was so deeply unresourceful that I just couldn't get beyond what I experienced. I was like my own worst enemy. I don't mean that in a nasty way. I mean destructively. My own thinking style created a state, an emotional state in my physical body that just it was rooted in survival. There was not much thriving. There was not much happiness and peace. I didn't feel safe in my own earth suit for even right into my adult years because I didn't know this stuff. I was blind to how my own thinking, which I thought was my good intention, my own thinking was working against me. And even when I was working hard, I mean, I've done all the work, right? I've purchased and participated in so many programs. Not only am I a coach and a trainer and a consultant and a facilitator, I've done coaching. I've been coached. I've dived into training. I've read the books. I've listened to so many audio programs, watched so many videos on YouTube and many different channels. I'm a learner. I've got a growth mindset. I've done all the right things, but I was doing it from an unresolved space. I was doing it from a state that just didn't serve me because that state was held in place by beliefs that didn't serve me and my identity and my mindset. My emotional set points and my mental set points, my mental construct was destructive. But enough about that negative, because here's what I want you to hear is that it can change. And it changes coinciding with this work that we're doing as we're renewing the mindset that you have, right? And we're rewriting the mental construct of who you are, the identity that you choose to tell yourself, and how you do the self-talk and how you reorganize the set points of what you believe to be true. Now to come with this gift of being able to understand how energy works, energy in motion, how you create emotion based on the sense-making strategy that you have, based on the meanings you make about your physical experience in your earth suit as you do life, based on how your experience in a situation or a scenario, you get to calibrate that, you get to measure it, and depending on the measurement that you give, you experience an emotion in that moment. And as you experience more resourceful or positive emotions, you allow yourself to succeed. But when you're creating these negative, these unresourceful emotions, and you're activating a state, not a powerful state of being, but a state of anxiety, a state of stress. And yeah, man, from that state, from that frequency, just the frequency, and when I say, I mean an electromagnetic frequency, an energetic and emotion frequency, the frequency of your brain waves, the frequency of your body, that's just a dark place that doesn't nurture life. And we can shift this, right? We're learning how to shift this by doing the head work, we get into the heart work. And if you're going to change, if you're going to learn how to do something different, you're going to be able to do a different task or to learn a skill or to push through, to finish what you started. Perhaps it's that coaching program, it's that training that you started, it's that book that you're reading. Perhaps it's that skill that you're learning for work, to change your career. Perhaps it's the program, it's a bigger thing. It's a program of projects that you're driving as business owner, leader, or manager. And you're ready for once and for all to be able to push through and see it done. To be able to do that, the hand work is going to demand that you level up here in the heart work. So that the work that you're doing in the head space, the realigning, reorganizing, rewriting your mental construct and your identity and your practice of self-talk, what you say to yourself in any given moment, so that you can take that and you can activate a powerful state of being. And here's the magic I'm learning just over and above. When you're in a powerful state of being, then you can activate, as I'm learning to do these days, more effortlessly. You can activate frequencies, a level of mind that supports magic, that you can work with the version of you that was created at the beginning of time. And you can activate all the talents that are in you, all your skills you experience, from the person who you are now, from the person you were, and the person you will always be if you're open to quantum mechanics, quantum physics, if you understand that kind of thing. There's so much available to you when you're in a resourceful level of mind or state of being. And when I say state of being, I mean energy, emotion, the emotion as well as the frequency of your brain, the frequency of your heart, and the frequency of your body. This is what's available when we learn to do the heart work right. I get so excited about this. And when you get this right, at first it might feel like, whoa, this is too much. This is now we're doing the woo-woo stuff again, Robin. And I get you, because when something is new and unfamiliar, we can get caught in that old mindset, right? We can get caught into that, oh, I don't understand this. And our natural response, our lizard brain, our survival tactics kick over. So when it's unfamiliar or uncomfortable, well, when it's unfamiliar, it makes sense to me that it can feel uncomfortable. And it can make sense to me that when something's uncomfortable for you, you want to protect yourself. So this uncomfortable, this ease, you calibrate it as, whoa, this is wrong, this is bad. So you push it away and you start to close your mind, you start to contract. And my invitation to you is just breathe through this. Maybe this is exactly what you need right now. Perhaps you're like me and you've done everything. You know what to do, you even know how to do it. You know that you can do it, but somehow there's things you stop doing or you just don't. You talk yourself out of it, or you feel your way out of it. You allow an emotion to rise up, to create an experience that convinces you in that moment that you're not the person that you're trying to become, that you're working at, that you are the old version of you. So you take yourself out of the game. But not anymore. As we're learning to do the heart work, we're able to stay with what is, to recognize our thinking, to become real-time aware of the quality of the thoughts, the quality of the self-talk, so that you can select with intention what it is you're going to do next based on the story that you tell yourself and the set point, the mental construct that you choose. And based on what you choose, you're able to create emotion that serves you and activate that energy in motion. And with that energy in motion, this is what you need to be able to go to the next step. So people that are doing this are starting to see significant changes in incredible time. I think of some of the coaching programs I've had with guys. You run through the alphabet with accountants who've found themselves feeling like the mundane is becoming numb, and they lost their passion in their work because, look, they're really good with numbers and it's easy. So in the mental space, it's like this is easy, but there's this challenge because what is easy, I'm not finding easy anymore. I'm finding it become boring and frustrating. It's almost what skill I learned, my natural gifts and talents, what used to make a way for me is becoming like mud for me, and I'm getting despondent and I'm feeling frustrated, and I use that frustration to say something about me, and there must be something wrong with me. And when they start to see that shift, they can fall in love with their skills again. I'm just thinking of one person who could separate what she's experiencing in the work of doing the work, in the busyness of that business, and remind herself of her gifts and talents and see herself coming alive with that accounting work. And I don't ask me to do your accounting, that stuff. I'm good with people. I'm good with head and heart and this kind of magic. But numbers, man, I have a difficult relationship with numbers. But she doesn't. She comes alive with, it's like she can just see the stuff, right? And be able to make that distinction between what was happening in the emotional experience and the story she was telling herself. And she lost sense with what she was able to do. It's like like a lackluster. It's like, oh man, maybe I'm in the wrong career. I don't understand. And things are changing because she's doing this hard work. So that's accounting. I think of someone in marketing who just, like, I'm good with words and I'm good with people. They're good with pictures and telling great stories and doing like a really creative person who felt like they were losing their way because of the lack of passion and purpose. It's like, again, a really good talent, and I mean, they understand the strategy. They can see what's happening in a marketplace. They can see what the client's not doing. The marketing it's like they can read people's minds, but they don't want to work with people anymore. And they lost their spark for that until they started to do the heart work, as they start to make sense of what's happening in that headspace and see where they'd allowed themselves to like drop down in the heart space and just remind themselves of what's possible. They are flying again, and creativity just flows. What had become like this challenge, this drawing out of teeth, this painful experience is becoming colorful and fun again. I can see the light in their faces as they take on new projects. Well, I think of engineers and entrepreneurs who man, their brain is wired for that stuff. And it should be easy, but it's become another version of boring. It's become a painful boring. It's like become punishment, right? The very thing that was so exciting, they had passion and vision to get into, and they got the thinking for it, and they know what to do. But there's this gap in the heart space. It's like, yeah, the very thing. It's like I don't want to wake up for work anymore because the very thing that I built to create life for me, and the stuff which demands me to do a bunch of stuff, this strategy that asks me to do all this stuff is becoming this painful punishment. It's like, I don't want to go there anymore. And as they start to see their own thinking strategies, and then start to see the stories they tell and how that creates this emotional experience, and they're starting to shift this energy, they shift this experience, I'm starting to see the lights come back on. And to accept who they are and what they're good at, and to acknowledge, so to stop discounting and start counting and acknowledging just how good they are at what they do, injects another layer of excitement, of passion, and the purpose is relit, what's the right word? They ignite it again. It makes me excited. It reminds me of me. I'm trying to think through the alphabet, accountants and marketing and entrepreneurs and engineers and project managers who are really good at seeing all the bits and pieces, all the parts in the system, and be able to see the integrations and the connections. But they've found themselves in a quagmire of painful distrust as they've lost their ability to work with people. And I don't know about you, but a project pretty much is people. You can be really good at the practice and the discipline and the science of what it is that you're working with, but if you ain't going to work with people, you're going to struggle to make sense of and to excel and to feel alive when you're a project manager or a program manager. And to be able to see the heart come alive again, and to take the unresourceful thinkings and the stories they're telling about themselves and about others, and to just come back to neutral, to let go of this pressure to perform something amazing and positive and out there, and to let go of all the negative and the destructive stuff, and just come back to neutral, and to feel safe with themselves again, and to find a way to engage with people again, and to see that as they feel safe with themselves and they have this headroom and this heart room to engage with people again, the project comes alive, and their ability to see what's almost unseen between parts, and to see the magic what's happening in that system, and to see them like tinker with a project with so many moving parts, and to see it just start to come together in something quite elegant. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. It's like artistry, except not just on a canvas or out in the sky. It's artistry in business, right in front of them, and their project teams, the people working with them, are starting to show up again, starting to communicate with less effort and more clarity and more specificity, and the whole system starts to raise itself. This is what's possible when we do the heart work. It's not just woo-woo. It's not just out there in the psychologics of being human, and yet it's there too. And I think of people who, well, let me think of myself. I think of the shift I'm experiencing as I'm doing this heart work, right? That I'm starting to feel safe, as I said in the first video, in part 1. I'm starting to feel safe in myself again, starting to feel safe with myself. And that has a knock-on effect, right? When I'm showing up feeling safe with myself and feeling confident and safe about myself, the first people that benefit is my kids. I don't arrive into a conversation, into a moment, back-footed or feeling guilty or shaming myself with self-guilt, or living in the past thinking what I could have done, should have done, would have done. But I can arrive in that moment, arrive in the present, neutral, without bringing any need to measure or judge or justify, to overproject or overproduce. Just be me. And as I do that with my kids, I'm learning to do that with my customers and clients, and I'm learning to do that with other relationships. And as I learn to do that, like my whole earth experience, not only internally, my earth suit, I'm not only feeling safe with myself, I'm starting to feel safe to do life, to do professional life, to do business life, to do personal life. And I want that for you. if you're watching this, this is what's available. Perhaps this is something that you've been looking for, right? You know what you need to do, but you haven't been doing it. And you know how to do what needs to get done, but you can't figure out why. And perhaps it's this middle ground, this heart work. And I want to give you a gift of perhaps this might help you, that what's been my journey, what's helped me make the most inroads in this space, besides what we will talk about, is emotional literacy and emotional intelligence and that kind of work. And not only that, developing a self-awareness to be able to create states. I'll teach you in, I think it's pillar 5 and 6, how we deliberately do state, how we can manage our state, regulate our state, and create a state. We can create a state of excellence for a particular purpose, for a process, for a place, for a task, for a moment. But to do that, and with state, we're able to then access grit and do a whole bunch of stuff later downstream. But to do state and to do self-awareness and to do radical responsibility, to take ownership of where I am, so that I can take back my personal powers of how I think and what I say and what I feel and what I do, is going to require acceptance. And one of the things, linking back to some of the stuff we said in the first part of this process, of this 3-part that I'm sharing with you, is to do acceptance. To be able to practice acceptance, you're going to have to become comfortable with emotion. Because how you emote, the energy in motion that you experience, and how you use that to make sense in that moment, which then you use to create meaning, that energy, that emotion, that's what's gonna keep you in the game or cause you to get out. See, if I can't practice acceptance, or rather let me put, until I learned to practice acceptance for what is, I was caught either in overinflated positive energies or over-exaggerated negative energies. And neither are really right or wrong. They're unhelpful when they're not true. And when I'm caught up in these untruths, then I'm blinded again to my own thinkings or my own. I can have the noble intentions, right? You can come with the greatest of intentions, highest of intentions. And I can come with knowing what to do and how to do it and having the will to do it, but blinded by my own stuff because I wasn't in the moment. I wasn't able to practice acceptance for what is, to see it, as a mentor of mine says, to arrive innocently, or to arrive at a moment as if it was innocent, to see it for the first time as if you're seeing it as a child, and to see it for what it is, to say it is what it is. And if and when you learn to practice acceptance and arrive in that moment, then you're in the present. And here's a gift. When I'm in the present, I'm not chasing back my past, trying to fix something or redo something that I thought I could or should have, all those. And at the same time, if I'm in the present, I'm not in the future trying to create and manufacture and manipulate in the future what might happen now. And when I'm in either of these, the past or the future, I'm not here in the present. And if I'm not in the present, I cannot be in my power, right? And I give away my power, either to my past or to my present, to something else, somewhere else, someone else. And then I wonder why I don't have the power to be with what is right now. And then it doesn't matter what I think I should do. And it doesn't even matter if I know what to do, because I'm not here in the present. And one of the access steps, the doors to access the present, is to practice acceptance. And my invitation to you is to reach out to me if this is one thing that you need to do. I want to share with you a practice of acceptance. I want to share with you some of the steps that I'm learning to be able to stay with the moment, to be present in the moment, so that I can activate my state to the most resourceful way, so I can be mindful of what it is that I'm thinking, and as I'm embracing my new identity and my new mindset set stuff, I'm doing the mind shift stuff, so that I can do what I know I need to do, and when I know how to do it. And then with this acceptance, with this presence, I'm able to see where I am in my state. to practice emotional intelligence, to practice emotional literacy, to be able to practice state management, state regulation, and activate state, to create state, so that I can take radical responsibility as I take back control of my life. And this is what I want to share with you, and how to do this in real time as you take back control of your life. And I don't know if you're getting as excited as I am in this moment when I think about taking back control of my life. And I think back, so in this moment I'm challenged not to go back to my past, but if I can, from this moment, staying in the present, look back at the past, I realize I wasn't in control. But now I know how to stay in control, and I can't delete and undo the past, but I can redo in this moment going forward some of the things I used to do in the past. I can do them differently from a new identity with a new set point of my mental construct, activating state, so I can live into my future intentionally. And I'm not suggesting it's easy, because there's something else I need to teach you. I need to share with you what I've learned when it comes to the hand space, which we'll do in the next video. But I can't get there without this. And as you find this stuff, as you start to do the heart work, it empowers you to stay present and to be able to do the handwork with effortless ease, or what some people will call to do it with flow. And when you're finding yourself fall out of flow and you're losing that sense of ease and becoming an effort, be able to see that trigger and to come back in the moment, to just take back control. And I don't know what it feels like for you. Imagine, right, if you're experiencing control in your life again, the sense of relief. When, like some of my clients will say, a sense of relief when they can recognize their own thinking, to see their strategy, and to see the work that they're doing against themselves, and to be able to pull their hand out of that old way of doing, that old way of thinking, and to open their mind to let go, in one sense, which requires acceptance, and to practice that acceptance, to be able to come back into the present and stay in the moment. There's a sense of relief when you can experience that control, to be able to say, I can control what I choose to think in this moment. I can control how I feel in this moment, so that I can control what state I'm going to access, which will best support what I want to do next and what I'm about to do next. A beautiful sense of release. And with that relief, there comes a sense of hope, not hopelessness, or not hopeless and hopelessness. See, when I look into tomorrow, thinking from where I used to be, there was no hope. It's like there's nothing I can do different, right? And a sense of hopelessness, because everything I did didn't count, didn't work. So why do what I've always done if I'm just going to get the same results? So then there's this hopeless. But it's not like that anymore, right? When you can determine your thinking, when I'm able to be real-time aware of my thinking strategy, my thinking style, as well as the story I choose to tell myself, and I can access state, and I can regulate my emotion, I arrive in the next moment, in my immediate future, with a new sense of hope. And just, I'm able to kick hopelessness in the butt. Even if I'm not getting the breakthrough I need yet, I have the sense of, I know what it takes. I know what needs to get done. I know that somewhere along the line, I've done this. So I know how to do it. Now it's just about what energy in motion can I access? What state can I access? What will I choose to believe about who I am, what I can do, and what's possible for me in this moment and the next, until I get there. I get super excited chatting about this. I hope this is inspiring you. And I look forward to sharing with you in the next video the hand stuff. Now that we've talked about head and heart, what does it look like when we're able to access this last three pillars, the last three parts of a mind shift, as you're starting to change with intention, right? Upgrading what you choose to believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you, and how that might feel in your earth suit when you arrive in a moment feeling hopeful and feeling like, man, I can access all those tactics and strategies and tools. Tomorrow will be an exciting day, regardless of what happened yesterday or today, and regardless of what might be happening right now. Tomorrow has still got hope, because It's back. It's in my control. I can do something about it. This is really exciting. And as you listening to this, I wonder if there's something there's someone who comes to your mind who needs to hear this message. And if you invited someone from the last part into this one, thank you. And kudos to you, like big ups to you, because perhaps you're the reason they heard this message, and you are the reason that their life will never be the same again. And because of inviting someone to this video to listen to this content, perhaps they see or hear or feel something that they needed to, that will begin the rest of the best of their life. So do that again. I invite you. If there's perhaps there's a name that comes to your mind right now, or a face that's in the back of your mind right now, don't hesitate. Invite them. Perhaps they need this message as much as you did, or even more than you. And you get to be the person that allows them to start their journey, so that they can experience with you and with me from this day forward the best of their life for the rest of their life. My name's Robin. I'm so excited for what's going to happen for you next as you embrace your mind shift, as you upgrade your mindset so that you can change what you believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.